Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check.
Can we gather around in a circle?
Gather around in the circle
So that we can all hear
so we can all hear
and see each other's beautiful faces
see each other's beautiful faces.
and beautiful tales.
Beautiful tales.
My name is Rochelle.
My name is Rochelle.
And I would like to very much welcome all of you to this very first GA of Occupy Peterborough. We are using something called the People's Mic
We are using something called the People's Mic
as a way of amplifying our voices so everyone can hear, but also to encourage active listening. I have a couple of introductory announcements. Peterborough sits on traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. This land, Nogo Jiwanong, the place at the end of the rapids. And so we thank the sacred land, the nations upon whose territory we stand, and all living creatures, animal, plant, water, wind, with whom we share this space today.
I would also like to acknowledge the Haudenosaunee and Huron, specifically the new Mississauga of the New Credit First Nations.
The second announcement is that I would like us all to please take a moment to notice all the beautiful people who are here. And to thank each other for being here.
Thank you.
Now let us also take a moment to notice and acknowledge who is not here today. And to recognize that sometimes income, accessibility, status, and many other factors inhibit some people from being safe and comfortable at a politicized gathering. We are hoping to collaboratively create the safest, most open space possible. We are acting to create a space that acknowledges and counters acts and language of individual and systemic discrimination based on race, sex, gender orientation, age, ability, language, religion, spirituality, legal status or income, or any of the other reasons that divide us. Together, we will act to diffuse attacking language and create the safest space possible. Now, as we are trying to create a safe and welcoming space, we would kindly ask that any media or law enforcement clearly announce and identify themselves to the gathering. This is a public gathering.
This is a public gathering.
And people are invited to broadly record.
And people are invited to broadly record
Today's GA.
today's GA.
If you really don't want to have your voice or image captured,
If you really don't want your voice or image captured,
attempt to stay out of the camera's way.
attempt to stay out of the camera's way,
And kindly ask the people recording
and kindly ask the people recording
not to include you.
not to include you.
Okay. So, GAs
GAs
across the Occupy movement
across the Occupy movement
have adopted a decision-making structure
have adopted a decision-making structure
broadly called consensus.
broadly called consensus.
There are many different ways of doing consensus,
There are many different ways of doing consensus,
and as we continue to meet,
continue to meet,
hopefully we create
hopefully we create
the right one for Peterborough.
the right one for Peterborough.
The reason why consensus is being used
The reason why consensus is being used
is because a voting model of majority rule
because a voting model of majority rule
often means
often means
that the decision made
decision made
has less broad support,
has less broad support,
and what we want to try to do with consensus
and what we want to try to do with consensus
is not come to absolute agreement
It's
not come to an absolute agreement
and unanimity,
and unanimity,
but bring ourselves to a point of unity
but bring ourselves to a point of unity
where the greatest number of people among us
where the greatest number of people among us
feel comfortable
feel comfortable
moving forward with the decisions we make.
moving forward with the decisions we make.
So I'd like to take a couple minutes to teach you guys some hand signals.
I'd like to take a couple minutes to teach you guys some hand signals.
I'm going to also describe the hand signals.
We're going to describe the hand signals,
There are many different models.
many different models.
We can change this later.
We can change this later.
So the first signal I'd like to show you
The first signal I'd like to show you
means that you very much agree.
Many very much agree.
It is wiggling your fingers high up in the sky.
Wiggling your fingers high up in the sky.
The next signal I'd like to show you
Next signal I'd like to show you
is wiggling your hands straight out in front of you.
is wiggling your hands straight up in front of you.
It means that you're undecided,
Means that you're undecided,
not clear,
not clear,
or don't really have an opinion,
or don't really have an opinion,
or one that you'd like to put on the table for that decision.
or one that you'd like to put on the table for that decision.
The next signal I'd like to show you
The next signal I'd like to show you
is twinkling fingers pointed to the ground,
twinkling fingers pointed to the ground,
which means that you disagree.
which means that you disagree.
In a consensus model,
In a consensus model,
disagreement
disagreement
is very deeply valued.
is very deeply valued.
We want to see
We want to see
everyone's opinions clearly
everyone's opinions clearly
so that they are part of our decision making.
so that they're part of our decision making.
The next symbol I'm going to show you
The next symbol I'm going to show you
is two arms crossed in an X
is two arms crossed in an X
in front of your chest.
in front of your chest.
This is a block.
This is a block.
A block is a very powerful tool
A block is a very powerful tool
that is only to be used
that is only to be used
when you believe
when you believe
that what is being proposed
that what is being proposed
goes absolutely
goes absolutely
against the core principles
against the core principles
and basis of unity
and basis of unity
that are the reasons we've gathered here.
that are the reasons we've gathered here.
Now, in a consensus model,
Now, in a consensus model,
we invite
we invite
everyone who's here
everyone who's here
to be a part
to be a part
of the facilitation
of the facilitation
of how we meet.
of how we meet.
So I'm going to give you
So I'm going to give you
a few more hand signals
a few more hand signals
and invite each of you
and invite each of you
to use them as we discussed
to use them as we discuss
to keep us on track.
to keep us on track.
The hand symbol that I'm making.
The hand symbol that I'm making
Is a C.
is a C
With my hand.
with my hand,
And it means a point of clarification.
and it means a point of clarification.
This is to be used
This is to be used
when something is very confusing
when something is very confusing,
and you believe you need to ask a question
and you believe you need to ask a question
to clarify
to clarify
before the next points can go on.
before the next points can go on.
The next symbol is a finger pointed straight to the sky.
The next symbol is a finger pointed straight to the sky.
This is a point of information.
This is a point of information.
Use this point of information
Use this point of information
if you truly believe
if you truly believe
that you have a point of information
that you have a point of information
that must be told
that must be told
for discussion to continue
for discussion to continue
to move on clearly.
to move on clearly.
The next symbol that I'm making
The next symbol that I'm making
is a triangle using both my hands.
is a triangle using both my hands.
This is a point of process.
This is a point of process.
Point of process
Point of process
is to be used
is to be used
by anyone
by anyone
who really believes
who really believes
that the process that we've decided upon,
that the process that we've decided upon,
for instance, the proposal that we're directly speaking to,
for instance, the proposal that we're directly speaking to,
has somehow been derailed
has somehow been derailed
and want to bring us back on track
and wants to bring us back on track
with our collective process.
with our collective process.
Now the last symbol I'm going to show you
Now, the last symbol I'm going to show you
is to be used with loving gentleness.
is to be used with loving gentleness.
This symbol
This symbol
is me rotating both of my arms.
is me rotating both of my arms.
This symbol means quicken it up,
This symbol is bring it up,
move along,
move along,
or we feel that the point's already been made.
or we feel the point has already been made.
It's important to recognize
It's important to recognize
that this symbol
that this symbol
can seem hurtful
can seem hurtful
sometimes
sometimes
to people
to people
who are trying to share.
who are trying to share.
Please use it lovingly.
Please use it lovingly.
So before we continue,
So before we continue,
are there any questions or clarifications
are there any questions or clarifications
about any of the symbols?
about any of the symbols?
Okay,
Why don't
we've got a couple hands. Yendri's going to keep a speakers list. And where's Matt? Matt as well.
Matt as well.
He's going to help out
It's going to help out
keeping track of who would like to speak.
of keeping track of who would like to speak.
I believe this man had his hand up.
okay, I have two quick things. One is I don't feel there was time for the media person here to step forward because
Mic check!
Mic check!
I don't feel there was time for the media person who's here
I don't feel like there's time for the media person here
to step forward,
to step forward,
and I believe he wanted to.
and I believe he wanted to.
Second point is
Second point is,
I think it would be great to run through all the hand signals
I think it would be great to run through all the hand signals
very quickly.
very quickly,
One more time.
one more time.
There were a couple more hands.
There were a
Couple more hands.
Would anybody like to say something?
Would anyone like to say something
Before I run through the symbols again.
before I run through the symbols again?
Okay.